Hi, you're here with Mel and Rea on Toasted, where we mix drinks and feelings. Today's topic, female friendships. When Rea and I were telling this young person at work about this, she said, sounds messy. Good, but messy.
It can be.
Right.
Well, very good. Both messy and good.
Anything tied to human emotion is going to be messy, and female friendships absolutely tied to emotion.
Some of the best things, though.
All right. What do we have for our drink today?
Okay, we are having, my phone timed out. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're going to have, it's an elderflower sour, but what I just realized is it's actually not an elderflower sour because I got the wrong kind of gin, but it's delicious and it's really pretty, so it's fine. We had one time, where did we go? We were somewhere, maybe in Idaho, and we had an amazing drink that had egg white in it, which was kind of nerve-wracking. I've never had that before, but the drink was amazing, so I was really okay with it. And this has egg white in it, which was kind of nerve-wracking again because now it's my turn, and I'm a very.
The first one was really, really good.
It was
so pretty.
It's really pretty. So, I had to read about how like the right kind of egg white. But anyway, I had to read. Thank you about like putting egg white in drinks and what you're supposed to do and how there's a different way to shake it. There's a whole process to this, but this drink, because I'm making a double batch, of course, is 2 egg whites. That was
Appetizing.
yum. And then 1 ounce of lemon juice. And I'm actually measuring today because I feel like this is one of those drinks that I could really mess up. It's a measuring drink. So a little more. Okay. 2 ounces of lemon.
Homemade simple syrup.
Surprisingly easy. And the store-bought stuff has like not just sugar and water in it. And then 2 ounces of the simple syrup. And even though we don't typically like sweeter drinks, this was good with the full amount. I think only because of like all the citrus and everything in it. And then this. It's so pretty. It's indigo gin. Empress 1908 indigo gin.
The recipe called for Empress 1908 elderflower.
Elderflower. Yeah. Liquor store didn't have it. This was the only one that they had. But I'm not sad. And it's going to be 4 ounces of the gin.
Yeah,
it is.
Oh, how pretty it is already.
I know. All right. So we're supposed to dry shake it is what it says. You don't add the ice the first time, and that's with the egg white. It's supposed to be helpful in making it frothy and other things.
So excited. This is our first time using this shaker.
Okay. And then I'm going to add a few ice cubes just so it'll be nice and cold. Shake it again. Strain it. Okay. Baking is nerve-wracking.
I was afraid.
Yeah. Makes me a little nervous.
Oh my gosh, look at how pretty that is.
Okay. And then
Like a pro.
So I could quit my day job,
But please don't.
okay, well. Okay. That's it.
So good. Good. Let's go ahead and start off with types of friends. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar explains that people typically have 15 loose friends. So people that you're acquainted with, that you contact regularly, but are different than the 5 close friends that are more of an integral part of your life.
Okay.
So I know that our friendship you, me, and Bobby is very, very rare. I mean, spans decades. We are together a lot. A lot.
A lot. And in fairness, though, we've had moments where we haven't been together. Like, we're fortunate that we're working together again, and our work environment puts us even more closely together than previously when we were in the same building. But we had, even in our close friendship, we had time where we weren't working in the same location, and we still made sure we were there for each other.
But I would say our relationship, it's so interwoven into my daily life that it's just it's a part of my daily life.
Yeah.
And so that's a different type of friendship. I have a friend, an amazing friend, that I had in high school, and I had considered her family my family. Her parents are actually my godparents. They became my godparents when I was in my 20s. We rarely see each other in person, but we use Marco Polo to stay in contact. And then I have another friend who lives here in the same town who I absolutely adore, and we're always promising, we're going to meet up, we're going to meet up. And that maybe happens once a year, and we don't contact in between. So we meet up, and we just fall right back into it. I remember, oh yeah, she's my people. And then the cycle begins again. Let's meet up more. And it doesn't happen. Yeah.
I think that's a real thing. And I think, especially like you said, the friend that you guys, Marco Polo, she doesn't live in the same town. So that ability to communicate on an easier level is gone. You know, your day to day is not going to involve each other running into each other, quick get together. But then even with a friend who lives here in town, we're all busy, we're working, we're kids, there's so many other aspects to our lives that when proximity gets kind of pulled away, it's kind of hard.
And I know you have some wonderful, wonderful book club friends.
Yes.
And you guys make a point of, we're going to get together.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. Once a month, we have book club. And we really do pick a book, and we mostly read it. Sometimes, sometimes we fall out of reading, but we still call it book club. And one person might be like, I haven't been in the mood to read for 6 months, and they haven't read the book for 6 months, but they're still at book club because it's not just about the book. It is about the friendship. It's the connection that we have together. And we know once a month we get to see each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's hard to make that work, but we do.
Well, and friendships, like any relationship, they take work.
They do. So my book club friends, it was very interesting. We were talking one time, and I can't remember who brought it up. But they said, and because I don't want to mess it up, I do have notes. But it was a study by somebody named Jeffrey Hall, and it takes about 200 hours of time spent together to become close friends with someone. This includes time spent hanging out, playing games, and joking around. So when you break it down, it takes about 50 hours to become a casual friend from an acquaintance. So somebody you just know, but then you have to put in 50 hours of work to become casual friends. You hang out every now and again, that sort of thing. It takes about 90 hours to become a friend from a casual friend. So closer, deeper connection, right? And then it takes about 200 hours to become a close friend from a friend. And I think, if you're blessed enough to have close friends, you know that you don't let that go. You hold on tight. So Hall's study suggests that people invest time and energy into friendships to satisfy their need to belong. I agree. He also suggests that people prioritize relationships that make them feel most connected. Yeah, you should. That's where you put your time and energy. Important. Yeah. And it's the time and energy is easy to give to something like that. It doesn't feel difficult. It's just easy to do. So at any rate, tips for making friends. Schedule time. Try to schedule a follow-up meeting with someone you meet. So if you feel that connection.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't schedule, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Put it on the calendar.
Yeah. How many times I know I've told people, oh yeah, we've got to get together for lunch, a drink, whatever, and then it never happens. And then you see them again and you say the same thing because it was a wonderful meeting, and then you don't do it again. It's just, I think, human nature almost.
I agree.
And then you have to make it routine. Try to make time for someone on a regular basis.
Book club. Go running. Something like that.
Start a podcast.
Start a podcast. We did it. It can't be that hard.
Start a crafting group.
Absolutely.
I mean, So, and then you have to be invested. You have to prioritize investing time in people and building relationships. So, yeah, according to Hall, maintaining close relationships is important work and does take time.
And that's basically where we started. We were acquaintances working in the same office. And then we started running together. The three of us we started running together. We ran together multiple times a week, but made sure we did once a week. And we talked and we laughed, and running, like it's bonding because it's hard as fuck.
I did a lot of listening because I was always out of breath. I couldn't talk.
And a lot of carrying my clothes.
Well, you did overdress that one time.
So, I am not a big informational book reader. I'm not. But I cannot say enough amazing things about this book. Fighting for Our Relationships, the Science and Art of Conflict and Connection in Women's Relationships.
It's complicated and messy, but good.
By Danielle Bayard Jackson. She's witty, she's insightful. The depth and breadth of her knowledge of specifically female friendships, I've learned so much. And there's so many things that I've like snapshotted and then sent to you or screenshotted because I'm just like, oh my God, listen to this. So in this book, she talks a lot about the fragility of female friendships, the complexity, the depth of emotion. And that's hard to explain to somebody who hasn't experienced it. But if you've ever had a close female friend, you've been emotionally invested.
Oh, whoa.
Those they just go together.
And the emotional levels, I mean, will bring you to your knees, really. I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I really think, everybody thinks, oh, middle school and high school friendships, like they're so brutal. I actually had a woman came up to me in the gym, and said, I just want to apologize for how mean I was to you in high school. And I was like, who are you? I mean, I knew who she was, but she wasn't an important part of my life.
Yeah.
So she didn't actually hurt me.
Yeah.
So I knew who she was. She was like part of this friend group. And this particular group of girls would get so indignantly mad if somebody was wearing the same color eyeshadow that they were. And my mom died when I was in high school, and I moved in with my boyfriend, and like the color of eyeshadow was just not something that was super important to me.
You didn't have time for that.
So I did accept her apology, and I just let her know that it was not that big of a deal to me.
But as her current friend, you may fuck right off. Because absolutely not. That is unacceptable to do to somebody.
But I also have to say, like, whatever it is that she said or did to me absolutely would have crushed somebody.
Yeah.
But I'm not, like, guileless in this. Like, I have had experiences where I'm the aggressor in what I have been. In what Bayard Jackson has called, like, I've participated in this. She calls it relational aggression or sophisticated stealth.
Oh, I like that stuff. I mean, I maybe don't like the action, but sophisticated stealth.
Or mean girls.
Oh.
Now, it's called mean girls, and that's super stereotypical, but boys do this too.
Yes.
They absolutely do, but it's more attached to girls.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost always out of like a lack of control, a lack of skills to address conflict.
Run away.
Hurt, or to create, or just to create their own power, like to increase their standings in a friend group by bringing somebody else down.
Well, they talk. Who was it? Was it Denny that talks
For
about
high trust.
for high trust, the different levels of people in a group. Maybe it wasn't Denny. I don't remember. But kind of how there's the queen bee, and then there's the followers, and then there's the witnesses, and there always needs to be the person who stands up for the I don't want to say victim, but like for lack of
victim.
yeah,
Absolutely.
So there has to be somebody who is willing to stand up for a victim in that case, and oftentimes I think there isn't.
And I would say that I've been on all of those sides. I've been an aggressor, I've been a victim, and I've been a witness. There's a certain level of trauma that is associated with female friendships.
Yeah. Yeah.
My daughter has a really, really social personality, and
She does.
watching her navigate high school friendships was really hard. And you think, okay, now you're out of high school, and that's the end of it. It is not the end of it. Like, grown-ass women experience those exact same things. Mm-hmm. They experience being the aggressor, the victim, and the witness of sophisticated stealth, relational aggression. Mm-hmm. And it's for those exact same reasons that you see in high school. We do have a little bit more choice on who we're surrounded by every single day, which is nice. But there are quite a few women who choose to have male friendships instead of female because of that.
It's just easier.
Okay. My daughter had shitty female friends in high school. They had the power to hurt her, and they really, really did.
And they used it.
Yeah.
They did. That was, as her aunt, that was very hard to hear about, to see, to witness. And yeah, can't do a darn thing about it.
No, you can't. Like, and it was just so hard to watch. And then, but she got through it and she dealt with it really, really well. But then she was having an issue with a friend in college, and I did not realize how amplified the situation was to her because of her high school experience. That trauma, that she wanted to build this protective shell. She wanted to protect herself.
It's a defense mechanism. I think when you've been through something like that, you immediately go, whoa, no, I'm not going through that again. And you absolutely pull away. You put up that wall, you defend yourself, you protect yourself.
Exactly. And she called me out on not supporting her 100% because I was like, well, what if, and she's like, no, Mom, this is what's happening. And I'm so glad she called me out because, of course, I support her 100%. I support her. And I feel like that's what I have with you and Bobby as well. Like, whatever it is, whether it's amplified by my own background or whatever, I have that support.
Always. I'm glad.
Me too.
Thank you, Bobby. You too.
And so there's just like this complexity that's both a strength and a weakness in female friendship.
Female friendship is one of the greatest things and also one of the hardest things. And I think so much of it is absolutely tied to just how women are made, our level of emotion. When we talk about, going through perimenopause and what that does to our emotions, that emotional, it's not just our data, our friendships are affected by that emotion and the inner dialogue that we have and the insecurities that we have and the empathy, the protect, because I mean, it's exactly like that young lady said. Oh, that sounds messy.
Good.
Yeah. But messy. It's the best thing, but it's messy. And when you find people that you can
be messy
with, you, whether, you want to, it's worth it. It's worth it. And you just dive in and you figure it out.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the friendship lessons that we have learned through our multi-decades.
Yeah. Turns out.
So personally, I have learned that letting go is really, 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 really hard for me. Once you are important to me, I hold on so tight, often to my own detriment and possibly your own detriment as well. Like I need outside perspective, which there's a danger in outside perspective when you're talking about female friendships, but I am incapable of ending a relationship on my own.
I think the outside perspective has to come from a well-trusted, well-rounded place. It can't come
Not
from
bashing the other person at all, but like what's best for both of you.
Yes, because I think that it'd be easy to seek not sound advice or, not hear
Validation.
Yeah, and I think that it's important that what you take in has to come from a very well trusted and grounded place, because people are crazy.
People are crazy.
I mean, we talk about the different kinds of friends. Some of them are great, and that's why they stay as casual friends.
Exactly. So what are some lessons that you have learned?
I tend to have really, really big feels. And I guess it's both a blessing and a curse, because those big feels come with a lot of wonderful things, and a lot of not wonderful things. Emotions get overwhelming, and emotions aren't always rational. And you just kind of, I think I've learned that I have to breathe. I have to breathe. Take the pause. I have been absolutely crushed by somebody who I thought was a friend years and years and years and years ago. We were in a friend group. I found out that she was saying some horrible, very untrue things about me, through friends in this friends group who turned out to be true friends who defended me. They were defenders in that circle, and they defended me, and I was devastated, though.
There's no betrayal like that.
It affected me at my very core. Now I'm like, meh, she kind of sucks. But it took time to get there. It still would have affected me a year afterwards if I had really thought about it. She was somebody that I trusted very, very much, to find out that I was a stepping stone in her path to whatever it was she was seeking. So really, I think that part of it is to allow myself to have my emotions, the good and the bad, but also stay grounded in reality, because my big feels can take me to unrealistic places, which dabbles on the negative side, of course, because a lot of negative emotions. But the big feels I embrace now. Before, I would try and tamper them down, and I'm like, that's stupid. I can't do that. It's really hard. It's not who I am.
The good with the bad.
Yes, I'm not. That's not who I am. You're gonna know it. Like I can't hide it. I have no poker face. I cry a lot. So while I try and stay grounded when the negative things happen, I fully embrace all the warm, wonderful fuzzies, and go, yeah, that's it. I'm going to cry now, because this is a warm, wonderful fuzzy, and I'm going to have my big emotions about it. And those are things that I just have allowed over the years.
This is who I am.
This is who I am. And that's who I am in my friendships. And I'm realizing that maybe actually that is why I have the friends that I do, because they like all of it. They're crazy. They're absolutely crazy. But in all seriousness, why, if somebody finds something good about me, why am I trying to hide it?
Exactly. And just accepting all points of yourself too, all parts of yourself. I definitely, an area of growth for me is how to address conflict.
Run away! Yeah, but you're not supposed to. She read about it.
So it's legit now that I've read about it. So every time that I have been the aggressor in this social stealth, it is because I lack the skills. I lack the skills to start and to follow through on those hard, awkward, emotional conversations. So part 2 of Bear Jackson's book is a handbook that I hope helps me with this.
Ooh.
Because it's absolutely worth the fight. And it would be a fight for me to address the conflict, to turn into it, to lean into it, instead of, it's fine,
just run away. Shove it down and run away.
Because honestly, I don't know where I would be without you and Bobby.
Yeah.
And I think of people going out into the wilderness or out into the world to find their true, authentic self, like the book Wild, or Eat, Pray, Love, or The Alchemist, or Walden.
She's a reader.
Walden Pond? Walden? It's Thoreau. And where they isolated themselves to just attune to who they are as people. And today we're really talking about surrounding yourself with people who help you, or trust. Not necessarily help you, but they trust in your authentic self. And they provide support for you to both fail and fly. And sometimes you need those people to remind you who you are at your core.
Absolutely.
Absolutely worth the fight.
Absolutely worth the fight. When you had said that about conflict, because I keep saying, run away, but really, conflict, run away. Unless you're my husband, then game on. I'm sorry, honey. He onslaught, especially lately. But I think truly, when you had shared that with me the other day about don't run away from it. Is the other person worth the conflict and working through it? Are you worth it? And is the relationship worth it? And what really hit me when you shared that was, is the other person worth leaning into that conflict? And is the friendship worth leaning into that conflict to repair it? And it was the craziest. I cried, shocker. But I did. It was like, you're absolutely right. Every part of me screams to run away. But I also would never want to run away from the friendships. It is actually worth the conflict, as uncomfortable and gross as it makes me feel. There's no substitution. There's no other route to take. You have to lean into it.
So that part that Brianna is mentioning is like when I read this during my lunch hour, and I was just like chills and had to come in and share it. This is from Bear Jackson's book, of course. And she says, instead of saying, oh, it's no big deal, because women do try to minimize things, like to downplay it, like it's no big deal, we're just going to let it go. It's no big deal. She said to replace the pronoun with I, you, or we. So say, I'm not worth it. I'm not worth bringing this up. Looking at your friend and saying, you're not worth bringing this up. I'm having a hard time even looking at Rihanna with this. Or our relationship is not worth it. And then how do you feel? Now is it worth bringing it up?
Sure is.
It sure is.
Sure is. Thanks for making me almost cry again.
Big deals. So research in this book, Fighting for Our Friendships, comes from an extended study from Harvard University. The greatest impact on our happiness in life. It doesn't come from how much money you have or what your job is. It comes from the quality of your relationships. And really specifically, women who have women-dominated circles of friendship have more emotional support, more career advancements, make more money, more satisfaction in their romantic relationships, and are better able to regulate their emotions.
So really, our partners should be absolutely on board with these female relationships.
Absolutely. Yes. And if I haven't convinced you to read this book yet, this is word for word It was near the beginning, and I'm like, I'm sold. I just want to read more and more of this book. So this is word for word. I'm going to read it word for word. At the end of the day, no matter what you do or where you're from, we all want the same things. We want to give generously without wondering whether we're being taken advantage of. We want to be able to tell a friend she hurt us with the security of knowing that after we do, she'll still be there. We want to bathe in the light of our beauty with women who delight in our radiance, instead of fearing that shining will make us a target. We want to throw our head back and laugh with abandon among women who love the sound of our joy. We want to rest in the love of other women without counting the ways they may betray us. The details may differ, but our vision of fulfilling female friendship is often the same.
I'm going to read the book.
And so begins the work for this friendship. Mm-hmm. So Bear Jackson has defined 3 foundations of friendship: symmetry, secrecy, support.
Do tell more.
Symmetry is our sameness. Like, what do we have in common? So this is going back to even like, what do you do to make time for each other? Are you going to start a book club? Are you going to run together? Are you just going to go and get dinner together? Are you going to make fancy drinks together?
Are you going to crochet together?
Yes, there's options, and you have this sameness in how you deal with things as well. So really, to me, that's like that sense of belonging. Secrecy is, of course, the vault. Can I tell you things and feel safe in doing that? Mm-hmm. And then support through all of the trials and tribulations, because life throws some real whammies at us. The people who are there at our highest highs, and the people who are there at our lowest lows.
Lowest lows. That's even more, I think, the people who are there at your lowest lows, when you need so much of their love, their support, their energy, that maybe they're even running short on, but they still give it because they can see where you are. Mm-hmm. I think you hold on tight to those people.
Absolutely.
You make the time, you make the effort, you make that space for them. It's important.
And I would say this to both you and Bobby, that I hope you know that there's a sameness in us.
Yeah, there is.
But I also respect and value our differences. And I trust you with thoughts that I can barely trust myself with.
Yep.
And I know that you would do the same with me, and that I support you unconditionally. I feel like I just wrote my vows.
I would say your and Bobby's, the differences, though, I feel, gosh, sometimes like they're so few. But you guys make me think bigger. You make me see things differently. And I appreciate that so much, because I don't want to just keep seeing the world through my lens. I think it's so important for anybody to look at the world bigger than what they see, but to have people that I trust that can, I want to say, safely show me that. Because again, I have big emotions, I have big feels, and there can't be an onslaught. It has to be in a safe way for somebody to show me things. That the differences that you and Bobby show me and teach me, and the things that you share with me, just, I almost feel greedy. I feel greedy taking it all in, because it just makes me a better version of myself. So thank you.
Thank you. So with this depth, this emotion, this intertwining of our lives, there's going to be conflict. And avoiding conflict only increases it. So there's unhealthy conflict, which I am quite adept at, I have to say. Silent treatment. Mm. Emotional withdrawal
Mm.
is probably my favorite. That's what I like to do.
That's a protective measure right there.
Defensive.
I think that's probably a lot of people's default.
Yes,
Absolutely. People get defensive and
yeah, this is why. This is why I'm still a good person. And it's not that you're not a good person. It's just it's an unhealthy way to deal with something that's in front of you. And then talking to everybody but the person that you need to be talking to. Yep.
That's because I'm a runaway.
A runaway.
I'm a runaway.
So healthy conflict. Turns out, healthy conflict is hard. and it might hurt. But remember how we said it was worth it? Remember that?
I do.
So worth it?
So worth it.
It's not intentionally hurtful. It's never attacking the person. It's attacking the issue. It's listening to understand.
Yes.
Not listening to respond. Not listening to defend yourself. Listening to understand. And then giving space to that other person to talk, and also being respectful of their boundaries.
Yeah. Which is hard. You really have to have both people, when there is a conflict between two, you have to have both people willing to take on both sides.
Absolutely.
Because rarely is it, especially in a close relationship, is it one-sided. Usually it's a level of miscommunication, and both people have to come to the table willing to take on both sides of that.
And I would need note cards.
Well, and I would, I mean, if we need to, I would accept that. I'd be like,
what note card are we on?
Yeah, let's sit down and we'll note card this.
So I have two more favorite quotes from this book. Among the multitude of information.
If she has not convinced you to read this book, I don't know what will.
But I have it on my Kindle, which is why I had to print this off. Okay. So Daniel Jackson, again, with the changing the pronoun to you are worth it. I am worth it. We are worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And then my very favorite, real friendship does not feel like a performance. There's a safety to bring all of who you are.
You don't even know what you signed up for.
Well, that means the happy you and the sad you and this like rageful you and the crying you and it's all parts of you. And as much as women are supposed to be compassionate and understanding, and above all, likable. Which we are.
We are. I think mostly
we are those things, but we're so much more. And we get to accept that about ourselves and about others.
Yes. I like it.
Okay. Let's go ahead and toast to the enduring love story of female friendships.
Love you.
Dilly dilly.
Dilly dilly.